What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're gonna talk some basketball. We're gonna talk and break down a little rumor that popped up and was brought up this week. It got a lot of people talking, a lot of people in the chat rooms, a lot of people in the message boards talking. So I just want to break it down. I want to talk about it. And exactly what does this mean? And the ramifications from it. Now, I didn't hear it personally, so I don't know the context that it was in. But shout out to Magic Nation, shout out to Magic Nation on Instagram. Shout out to Orlando Magic Wave on Instagram. Magic_FP on Instagram, because that's the guys those posts are where I got the story from. But obviously, Bill Simmons said on one of his podcasts that he felt that D'Angelo Russell's gonna sign to Orlando. Now I don't know if it was in a sarcastic tone, was it a joke? Was he making a bold prediction? Something that he felt was in the air? Something that he heard, little whispers? I don't know the exact context because, again, I didn't hear the actual podcast. So I don't know exactly what tone it was in. But it got a lot of people talking. Like I said, you got people out here saying, hey, go after D'Angelo Russell. You got people over here saying we don't need D'Angelo Russell. You got people over here saying you're not going to win a championship. There's no championship team if D'Angelo Russell's the best player on the team. We got Markelle Fultz. You got different people from all different type of ways got opinions. So I want to talk about it, break it down exactly. What does this mean? What's the ramifications of this? And how this is very significant. I know I haven't did a Magic video since Game 4 of the playoff game against Toronto when we went down 3-1. I didn't make a video game for I didn't basically break down Game 5 because I actually felt there was no need to break down Game 5. It was such a horrific game. There was really no point to break that Game 5 down. But let's talk about the story at hand about D'Angelo Russell could possibly, potentially join forces, and well, not join forces, but sign up with the Orlando Magic. Now, my stance has been this basically since the summer. Like, we're going into from the beginning of the season all the way to I wanted us to find a way to acquire a Kemba Walker, and once the trade deadline came and went, that's been my stance going into the off season. Is that if you're able to go after Kemba, if you're able to sign him. Now again, I don't know the exact salary cap situation. I don't know exactly what space we have. I know a lot of people throw out a lot of different stuff out there, but I don't know the exact actual number. But my target, if it was capable, was going after Kemba. Now again, same thing with D'Angelo Russell. I don't know if he's a restricted free agent or unrestricted free agent. So if he's a restricted free agent, that means even if you offer him something, the Nets could turn around and offer it and keep him. So I don't know exactly the terms of what his contract situation would be like either. But if you're able to get D'Angelo Russell, you go after that. Like just stop it right there. If you're able to get him, if you're able to get him or Kemba, you go after that. Like there's not even a question. Like, for people out here to act like there's a question, there's a debate, there's not. Like stop it. There's no debate. If you're able to get one of those two guys, you do it. Oh, we got Markelle Fultz. And what does that mean? What's that supposed to mean? Let me tell you something about Markelle Fultz. Now, how can I put this? I don't want us to put all our eggs in Markelle Fultz' basket just yet. I understand he was the #1 overall pick 2 years ago, but he has a shoulder injury. I think Markelle Fultz is coming from a shoulder injury, and he has a broken shot, and he has to develop as an NBA player. So those are 3 obstacles that he has to overcome. He has to overcome the health issue, him healing the shoulder, him fixing his shots because his shot was broken. Now we're saying this coming from the injury. So just because the injury is healed, does that mean his shot gonna come back to form? I don't know. We don't know. So, but we're just gonna go and we're gonna operate under the assumption that the shot still has to be fixed. So he has to get healthy. He has to fix a shot, and he has to develop as an NBA player, like everybody in the NBA does once they come from college to the NBA. They have to develop as an NBA player. If you had a player like D'Angelo Russell or Kemba Walker that actually helps ease it and takes off the pressure and is able for him to develop at a better pace, him to get healthy at a better pace, him to fix his shot at a better pace. Because if you just throw him in as the starting point guard, game one of the 2019-2020 season, and he has to do all these things at one time. He has to get healthy, he has to develop his shot and develop as a player, fix his shot and develop as a player. It's going to take him longer because he's playing in the actual NBA games as a starter, getting full minutes. I know the best way to get better and to develop is by playing key minutes. I understand that. I'm not saying don't play him at all, but I'm saying it'll be easier for him to develop and become and advance as a player because the pressure would be off even more. The pressure's already been taken off because he's no longer in the team that drafted number 1 overall. But but you basically crowning him the franchise point guard already off key, that's putting back pressure back onto him. That's one thing. 2, even if he fixes everything, if he gets healthy, his shot is fixed, everything, what's the harm of playing him and D'Lo at the same time? I don't understand what's the cause. You need 2 guards anyway. From like Fultz is a combo guard, and same thing with Russell. Russell is basically a 2 guard playing a point guard. So you could interchange them, and you can have 2 good guards playing at one time, or you can have another. You can always like how the Rockets do, how they have Chris Paul and they got James Harden. They got anytime on the court. They have an all-star level point guard on the court at all times. Like I don't understand. Even if Markelle Fultz is that dude, becomes worthy of the number 1 overall pick that he was drafted by, and D'Angelo Russell was the number 2 overall pick, who's an all-star, who is a legitimate all-star, not all-star like Nikola was, who just got slid in. Like he really was a legit monster. More likely going to be comeback player, not comeback player, it's not football, but more likely going to be most improved player of the NBA this year. So I don't understand what's the holdup. Like I don't understand what's the holdup. And the same people out there saying that D'Angelo Russell, you can't win a championship with him. The same people who wants to re-sign Nikola and give him a 5-year max for $120 million. Did y'all not watch the playoffs? Did y'all not see what happened in the playoffs? Did y'all just not watch the playoffs because he ain't show up? Like, at all. Like, he showed up for a half, the second half of the third playoff game, the first game in Orlando. He showed up for, like, that third quarter. In that, it wasn't even a half. He showed up for the third quarter. Because in the fourth quarter, he went back to disappear. Like, he was a completely disappointment in the postseason. The best player of the postseason, easily hands down, was AG, because he was the person who actually gave you the same production he gave you throughout the whole year. Like his averages in the postseason, his averages in the regular season were identical. Like he gave you pretty much the same production across the board from the postseason to the regular season. Now you want him to improve. I understand that. I'm not sliding over that. You do want him to improve, but he gave the ages you see in the regular season was the same guy you see in the postseason. Everybody else took a dip down. But y'all want to give this guy a max. Y'all complain talking about that Gordon is being overpaid. In his contract, every year his salary goes down. Y'all talking about he's overpaid, but y'all want to give Nikola a 5-year max? Just because he made an all-star game, which is, like, no disrespect to Nikola. He was deserving of the all-star game, but, like I said, let's be real. He wasn't a legitimate all-star. He was, he deserved to get some type of accolades, but he wasn't the first pick to be for an all-star. He got in because of injury. And Nikola's going to be one of those guys that you look at 4-5 years from now once he's retired, you look on his Wikipedia, I didn't know he had an all-star appearance. Like, that's the type of all-star game it was. It's going to be like, you don't even know he was all-star. But Kemba's a 3-time all-star. I think D'Angelo Russell's going to make all-star games going forward. So, These guys are guys you can look at and call and know and think these guys are all-stars. You look at these guys, boom, they are all-star. They bring that splash. They bring that intensity. And also, D'Angelo Russell did not back down at all when he played against Philly. He showed up. Now, even though they lost in 5 just like we did, but he came out there to play every night. So my thing is, like, I think that people have opinions misguided. Like, I think that D'Angelo Russell, if you're able to get in there, I think it's a stretch for him to even be brought into Orlando. But just for the simple fact that it's mentioned and it's being plucked out there now, unless, like I said, I don't know the context, unless it was something that was being thrown out there sarcastically, kind of like how Kuzma sarcastically threw out Orlando when he said, I'd rather be talked about bad in LA than not be talked about at all in Orlando. Unless it was something being sarcastically spilled like that. For his name to be tied with Orlando is a good thing, because maybe not this year, but maybe, because again, I don't know the salary cap space, but if the Magic keep improving going forward, they could be a destination spot for a star. Now, I don't think there's really no real quote-unquote big names or big guys coming out next year outside of, I know AD's contract is officially up next season, or he can at least opt out next summer. But I don't know exactly the list of the guys. I think this is something that people have been talking about for a while. They've been talking about this summer for the past 2 years. So I don't know, maybe it might be summer of 2021, but just for your name to be out there, just for your name to be out there, to be thrown in the mix, it's a good thing. It's a good sign. And that means that you can be attracting other free agents once you start opening up salary cap space and doing it in a winning fashion. Not just, like, the Knicks got salary cap space, but they've been a bad franchise. The only thing good for them is that they're in the city of New York. Orlando, a lot of people don't know. Only people talk about Orlando is going to Disney World. So it's not, I guess, not a huge attraction for NBA stars. So you got to make it attractive via basketball and the salary cap space. So therefore you need to win. That's why I was always for going to the playoffs. The thing that would have pissed me off the most would have been not making the playoffs, like barely missing the playoffs, and then ending up with the 13th pick. Even though we seen that the Lakers end up with the 4th pick, and a little funny business with that, but we're not going to talk about that. That's not the NBA draft lottery. But that also shows you, also not to tank, for people who are out there claiming for tanking. You see that the Knicks were the worst team in basketball, and the Knicks weren't tanking. The Knicks were just bad. The Knicks was bad. Phoenix is bad. Like, the Hawks is bad. Like, Cleveland Show is bad. Like there was teams that were legitimately bad, not tanking, mailing it in. Those are teams that, like, they couldn't try no harder to win, let alone to lose, and ended up out the top 5. And basically, this draft is a 3-player draft, and everybody else is just guys in the bag, and you just shaking the bag and you just pulling out. Like, they all interchangeable. You can make a case for all of them. There's only 3 guys you can just full-fledged say, in my opinion, possibly even 2, and you can just full-fledged say, that's the guy we got to draft. So, that right there shows you that, yeah, you need to win at all costs. Don't take step backs, because you might be a legitimate bad team and fall to a horrible draft pick. And also in that same case, you could be a team that, like the Magic benefited back in 94, when they missed the playoffs by a game and still ended up with #1 pick. So, I mean, it goes both ways. So, in saying that, if D'Angelo Russell was capable to come, hey, so AG, Isaac, Bamba, Fultz, I need all y'all to get together, have conversations, and talk to these dudes. Talk to Kemba. Talk to D'Angelo Russell. I know Charlotte can give Kemba the max. And I know people saying, well, no, Kemba said that he doesn't want to leave Charlotte. Of course he's going to say that. He's going to say that. He's going to say that. Because Kemba doesn't strike me as a person who's just like, I want my time now. But I think Kemba is going to look at it from a standpoint. Now, again, if they offer him a supermax, which is over over $200 million, that's kind of hard to turn down. And I don't care how bad of a basketball team it is. $200 million is still $200 million. Guaranteed. I mean, I don't know. Like I say, it's three things that drive players: championships, money, and status. Everybody wants all of them, but some people prioritize some things more than others. Some people I don't care how much money you get, I want a chip. Some people, I don't care how much money it is, or how bad a team is, they can pay me the most, I'm going. I don't care none of that. I want to be the guy who get all the points, all the stats. I want to get triple doubles, all type of things like that. So it all depends. I don't know exactly what Kemba's thinking is, but again, $200 million is still $200 million. I don't see nobody really turn that down willingly. But also, I seen him the last game of the year playing his heart out against a team who didn't have the quote-unquote they all-star in Nikola, and Isaac was out that game too. And he was playing his heart out, and they had a chance to make the playoffs, even though it was off and not because Detroit ended up blowing out whoever they was playing. I forgot who Detroit was playing, but might have been the Knicks. But Detroit was playing whoever they was playing. They was blowing them out, so that it was off or not. But Charlotte had to win just to even have a shot. And you could look at that game. Kemba was playing his ass off. And the Magic had their playoff spot. The Magic was good. The Magic already had their spot. So they were division champs, so they didn't have to win the game. And it was in Charlotte. And it got to the point of that fourth quarter that it wasn't even a game no more. And I think the game still ended up being close late, but you could tell that his teammates weren't playing. And he didn't look frustrated, but I could tell he gave everything he had to try to at least get into the playoffs. And not to have the horse, it's not like the team wasn't trying. It's just that he just didn't have the horses to back him up. And I'm pretty sure him looking at the Magic team face to face, like, damn, imagine me over here. Even though this is a team that's been struggling for the past 6-7 years, they in the playoffs. I'm giving them everything I got, and they whooping my ass. So just think about that. And the same thing with Russell, even though his team made the playoffs, his team was a high seed, his team was a 6th seed, the Magic was a 7th seed. But if he can get to, I think that him with these guys would be a better fit. And it's guys who know their roles. And guys who all, like, Gordon is a defensive guy who can hit the occasional three. I need him to be a little bit more aggressive, because that's kind of his problem. He defers a little bit too much. Isaac is just a straight defensive guy who can occasionally, very rarely hit a shot. I need him to be some type of aggressive. I think that both Kemba or D'Angelo Russell could definitely fit with the core group of guys we got. If that means lose Nikola, bye. Like, I was talking to a Laker fan. This is before the playoffs. And he was joking. Like, telling me, y'all gonna keep y'all center? Y'all better hope y'all center stay. I said, no, like, I really don't care. I've been saying this all year. Like, I was under the assumption that we were going to trade Nikola all year long. Like, that was my belief the whole season, that's what I thought we were going to do. And I actually think from a basketball standpoint, it would have made the most sense. But then, because of Mo Bamba's injury and him not able to play down the stretch, yeah, it actually did benefit for this season here to keep Nikola. I think going forward, I think the team could advance better without the hindrance of Nikola. Nothing against Nikola, but Nikola's similar. I know he's a walking triple-double. Similar to Kevin Love. Kevin Love, the best player in Minnesota. All those numbers, all-star, all those numbers, boom, 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 putting up empty stats on a bad team. That's kind of what Nikola does. He kind of puts empty stats on a bad team. I don't see him as a threat. Then when you get to the postseason, you see. I need to look exactly what Kemba does in the postseason, but I seen what D'Angelo Russell did this past postseason. I would like to have that with us this past postseason, because that's another reason why I know we went up against the Claw and all the type of stuff like that. And Toronto fans, hey, y'all made it to the conference finals. Y'all might, who knows what happened between y'all and Milwaukee. It's tied up 2-2. Who knows? But in in saying that, like, I just think that if we would have somebody of that type of caliber, skill set of scoring, because that's what we need the most. Well, we've been needing a scorer since, in my opinion, my personal opinion, we haven't had a legitimate scorer since T-Mac. I mean, we've had guys who can score here, but a guy who consistently put up 20 to 25 points across the board any given night, we haven't had that. Even with Dwight, we didn't have a consistent scorer. Yeah, we had guys who could put up numbers here, shots here, every here and there, but not a consistent scorer. That's what the Magic need, and Ben needed that. So, yeah. If you can go after these guys, now again, I don't know exactly the salary cap space or whatever, but if you can go after these guys, get these guys. Quit playing. Quit playing. It's been 7 years and we finally made the playoffs. Don't backtrack now. Go forward. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. I'll holler.